Hi, as we discussed earlier, let's go ahead and start an Ubuntu instance and start the installation of Docker Enterprise Edition. As a part of AWS EC2 dashboard, here I do have option to start with the instances. I'm going to launch an instance. I can search for Ubuntu. I can go ahead and select this particular version 16.04, which is long-term support. So I'm going to select this particular version. I will go with the type T2 large so that I will get 8 GB of memory so that there will not be any issue during the installation. I'm going to request only one instance as of now. All the other network details I'll leave it as default, and the hard disk I will go with 40 GB. As per the requirement of the documentation of Docker, we need minimum of 20 GB of hard disk. For safer side, I'm going with 40 GB. I'm going to add the tag name with the value Docker E. Within the security group, let me go ahead and create a new security group, Docker E. And I will open the port only for my IP address. Say review and launch. I'll go ahead and launch. And as a part of the key, I will go ahead and select DCA Docker demo key, which I used it earlier. And in the earlier demo, I explained how to separate the private and public key and how to use the PuttyGen/Putty tools. In case if you want, you can go back to the earlier lectures and verify. Let me launch the instances. When the instance is getting launched, let me go ahead and do a small change to the security group. I'm going to allow all the machines within this specific security group to communicate each other. I'm going to edit the inbound rules. I'm going to add a rule. I'll provide all TCP. Within custom, I will type Docker E. That means any machine within this particular security group will be in a position to communicate in all the ports. Let me save the rules. Let me check the status of the instance. Yes, it is up and running. Let me get the public DNS and launch into this specific instance. I'll add the host name over here. Under connection data, I will have the username as Ubuntu. And already I have the SSH auth. I do have the key already stored and I have changed the appearance as well. Let me go ahead and open the Putty session. Now I am into the instance. Now let me go ahead and prepare the instance. Let me go ahead and do the update. Sudo apt-get update. So it's going to check all the repositories and see what are all the updates to be done. And I'm going to do upgrade of all the packages. Sudo apt-get -y so that it doesn't ask for any confirmation and upgrade. All the packages which needs upgrade will get upgraded. The upgrade process is complete. Now let me go ahead and do the installation of required packages like HTTPS protocol support, CA certificate support, as well as CURL. So this is the command. And I'm going to add this specific command as a part of the lecture so that you don't need to worry about retyping the same command. You can copy paste. So the packages for HTTPS, CA certificates, CURL, and the required packages will get upgraded. Now from the Docker Hub, I'm going to get the license for Docker Enterprise. As a part of my content, after logging into the Docker Hub with your account, as a part of Docker Hub, you can request for a trial license, which is valid for 1 month. If you already have, you can use that specific license, or else you can go ahead and request a new license, which will be valid for 1 month. Here already I do have the trial license. Here I do have an option to download the key. Download and keep it in a safe location. And copy this particular URL, which needs to be set as an environmental variable. So once these steps are done, I'm going to set the environmental variable docker-ee-url using the URL that we copied from that specific location. And I will set the version of this particular Docker Enterprise Edition as test. Now let me get the license location. That is, from this specific location, I will be in a position to get the PGP keys as well as the required files for doing the installation. I'm going to get that specific file using this specific Docker Enterprise Edition URL /ubuntu/ GPG. So this is going to fetch the GPG key, which will be used for verification. Now I am going to add the repository with this particular URL as well as what version to be installed. So I'm going to add it into the repository using the command add apt repository. What is the version to be installed and the location, it will be mentioned using the specific URL provided by the Docker Hub. And in your installation, you need to have this particular value specific to the trial license provided by Docker Hub. Now, since the repository file is updated, let me go ahead and do the update so that the required packages for the added repositories will also get installed. So it's going to identify the new changes, and now let me go ahead and do the installation of Docker Enterprise Edition. I'm going to use the command apt-get install and install Docker Enterprise Edition. Sudo apt-get install-y docker-e. This is going to run for a few minutes. The installation is done. Now I need to add the user, that is this specific user, or in case if you have any other dedicated user, you can go ahead and add that user as a part of the Docker group. So let me go ahead and use the command usermod sudo usermod -ag docker and then this specific user. So the user will get added as a part of the Docker group. Let me go ahead and issue the Docker command and check whether the installation went through fine or not. Docker info. Well, it doesn't have the permission. The reason because after adding the user, we did not restart the system. I can go ahead and issue using the sudo command or restart this particular instance. Let me show both the options. Sudo docker info. Yes, the user is added. So it should be in a position to work without any issues. Or otherwise, I can go ahead and restart the system. Always it is recommended after changing the user, restart the instance. So let me go ahead and reboot. The POTI session will get terminated. Let me log into the instance once again. I can restart the session. Now I can issue the command docker info. Yes, I do have the Docker Enterprise version. It is up and running. So this is the server version that is installed. Now I can go ahead and create an AMI. So before creating the AMI, I need to take care of this particular one specific file, that is /etc/docker/key.json, which is going to have a key which will be used to communicate between the systems within the cluster. So when I create an AMI, and all the systems that I'm going to create from the AMI will have the same key. So what I'm going to do, I can go ahead and remove this particular key.json file, and whenever the Docker is getting started, if the key is not available, it is going to create a random key or a key specific to that instance, so that every system will have a different key specific to that instance, and there will not be any conflict within the keys. So I'm going to delete the key, or otherwise after creating the instance, I need to go ahead and delete this particular key in each and every instance, which is not a practical solution. So I'm removing this particular file and I'm going to create an AMI out of this particular instance. Image, create image. So the image name, I'll keep it as Docker image. And I will allow the system to reboot so that the image will be a perfect image. The session will get terminated and the image should get started. Now I can check the status of this particular image from the option AMIs. So this is the image that we are creating now. And once the image creation is done, I can go ahead and terminate the instance or reuse this instance. I'll go ahead and terminate so that I can start new instances from this image and proceed with the further installation. The image creation process is done. Now in future, whenever I wanted to start an instance, I can use this image and start the instance. Let me go ahead and terminate this instance which I used to build. Yes, it is terminated. I can go ahead and verify whether the volume attached to that particular instance also terminated or not. So this particular volume will also get removed. Yes, the volume is removed. Now in future, whenever I am going to start an instance, I will use this particular option, my AMI, and use the image Docker image that we created just now. So in a quick summary, we had seen how to start the Ubuntu machine and do the update, upgrade, and get the Docker Enterprise Edition license as well as the URL to get the packages, and how to update the repository and add user into the Docker group, and how to create the AMI with the specific installation. And after this particular installation, I'm going to create n number of instances and do the installation of Docker Enterprise Cluster.